Hello, I am Peaches and your host of On Location TV. She has more than 10 years in the mass media and communication field. She is also an experienced and award-winning journalist, which has equipped her with the motivation to become the CEO of Savvy Inc. and her newest venture, the founder of Savvy Lifestyle Magazine. My guest today is Shameka L. Reed, and we're going to take a break and come back with the rest of the show. We're back, and you're watching On Location TV with my guest today, Shameka Reed. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome. You're a good friend of mine, so I definitely wanted to come on the show and support you and everything that you do to support us as young entrepreneurs and business people. So.
Well, great. Now, I know who Shameka Reed is, but we're kind of going to introduce you to the city of Jackson in a different way.
Okay.
So who is Shameka Reed?
Okay, let's see. Well, I grew up in Macomb, Mississippi. I'm the oldest of two. I have a younger sister by the name of Linda. And we just grew up in a, average family, did average things, got in average trouble as young girls or whatever. Then attended South Pike High School in Magnolia, and then attended Jackson State University, go Tigers. And then after that, just kind of branched off into the media industry and, just living everyday life, just enjoying life, having fun, taking control of life and making it be what I desire it to be, or what my Creator desires for me to do in life. So I'm a firm believer that you create your own destiny. You don't let people dictate what you do in life and all those kind of things. And I got that from my family upbringing. I don't care if I was in a jump roping contest. My family made me feel like I could, I could really jump. Yeah, they was like, "Are you gonna? Yeah, go right ahead." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, that's good to have that kind of support.
It is. I mean, and that's just really important. And I think that gave me the confidence that I needed growing up, because I grew up in a very rural area. Macomb, it was actually 30 minutes outside of Macomb, which I never understood, because you had a whole nother city before you got to where I live, but we had a Macomb address.
Well, you always, when you're from a very small town, you always kind of pick the town that's the next largest town that's next to it. Because I'm from Kosciuszko, but actually I'm from the rural area of McAdams, Mississippi, and people say, McAdams? Where in the heck is McAdams?
Right. So if I said I was from Progress, Mississippi,
Progress,
nobody would know that, because
I have never heard of
Macomb, you have Magnolia, and then you kind of have like Osika, and then there's Progress, and then there's Walthall County, which is Tylertown.
Okay.
So I was right there in the middle. And it was a very rural area. We grew up with the pigs and the cows and the
There's
chickens.
Nothing wrong with it.
You know what? I was talking to my dad. There isn't, because now you see a lot of advertisement for growing vegetables and crops and stuff in Mississippi.
Right.
I've been noticing that, so I'm thinking about branching out into the agriculture business.
Oh my gosh! Okay. Well, do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, I experienced it for some reason or another, but. But yeah, so I grew up in a really, really rural community where you had to take an interest in something. You had to look outside of your community. And I think the greatest thing my mom did for me was give me a library card. So it was, yeah, you had to imagine things. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, we're gonna switch things over. In my intro, I mentioned that you were started out in the education, or your interest was in mass communication.
Correct.
Talk about that. Was that at Jackson State, or how did that come about?
Well, like I said, the greatest thing my mother did for me was give me a library card. And so I always knew I wanted to do something that was fun, that had me interacting with people. So I did some research. First, I thought about social work, and just like, no, I don't know about that. That just doesn't, I mean, that's helping people, and that's great, but I kind of wanted something different. I desired something different. So I did, just because at that time we had encyclopedias.
Uh-huh.
So I found out about public relations
Oh, okay.
and got an encyclopedia, read through it, found out what they, do and everything. And that's kind of how I got involved, and ended up at Jackson State because my principal, I told him what I wanted to do. I told him that I did not want to pay out-of-state fees. And I wanted to be close to my family because at 17 my mother died, so it was just my father, my sister, and myself. So I really wanted to be close, but not in the same city.
Right.
So my principal at that time, Mr. Willie Jones, told me about Jackson State and that they had an awesome mass communications department. And that's what I decided to do. I got there, and it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Really?
And,
Really? Well, that's good. That's good. Now, I also said in reading your bio that you are a award-winning journalist. Talk about that.
Well, while I was at Jackson State, I won these awards in college. So maybe people may say, well, yeah, that's college. But for me, those were big,
that's a part of your...
Right, those were big accomplishments. I was a public relations concentration in college, but I started off writing because I understood that the teachers always told us you needed to have, in any aspect of communications, you needed to have a solid foundation with being able to write. In journalism, you needed to know how to write a press release. You needed to understand AP style. And so as a freshman, that's what I did. I started writing with the campus newspaper, the Blue and White Flash. And my first story, I wrote it as if it were an essay, and they chopped it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just like, did you read another paper to kind of see how, But after that, I stuck with it, and was able to do some great stories, sports-related stories, historical pieces. And we entered those into different competitions throughout the state and throughout the region. And so those stories helped win awards for me.
So what kind of stories did you cover? What types of stories? Or just all you focused on one particular?
I didn't have a particular beat per se. I started off in sports, and started off as a sports writer, and then became a sports editor, and then kind of branched out into other elements. I interned with the Topeka Capital Journal in Topeka, Kansas, and that's where I got to write a really great story that won several awards about the Underground Railroad and the role that Topeka played in that process. And so it published after I left, after my internship ended. It published, but it gave me a lot of insight on the Underground Railroad, the history of it and everything, and it was just a great story to do. Another story that I've been able to do was Mrs. Evers, Mrs. Merle Evers. I got to interview her, that was awesome. That was really awesome.
Well, now let's switch over just for a second. I know we're getting ready to go on break, but I want you to talk about the corporate world for just a second. I know that you moved from that to working in the corporate America, so to speak.
Well, right. From the educational standpoint, I started off as a recruiter publicist in my career, recruiting master and PhD students. Then I transitioned over into corporate America, where I was doing a lot of traveling and a lot of community outreach kind of work. And I believe all of those were my only two real jobs or careers or whatever, but I believe they both shaped me, prepared me for something greater.
Right.
And they were both great experiences. Both jobs allowed me to travel a lot. One job had me interacting with collegiate students that were seeking a master's and PhD, and I didn't have either. But I got to go out and talk with them and let them know what we could offer for them. And then another job allowed me to interact somewhat with at-risk youth. And so
that kind of prepared you for Savvy Inc., which we're going to talk about when we come back from break. So we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Savvy Inc.
For more information about Savvy Inc., a public relations and marketing firm, and Savvy Lifestyle Magazine, your source for living, visit www.savvylifemag.com or email Shameka at SavvyIncOnline.com.